One of the first things I wanted to check out once I got to Tokyo was the Starbucks Reserve, which is 4 stories tall, with each floor being something different. One of the cool things about going to a Starbucks Reserve, especially this one, is they're typically a roastery where you can see them actually roast the green beans and make the special blends for their stores. Unfortunately, the day I was there, they weren't roasting anything, but you could kind of see everything that was going on. After checking it out, the first thing I did was order a coffee flight that took about 10 minutes to brew, which gave me some time to go check out the bakery section. Here they had fresh made loaves with different types of breads that were all made in-house in their wood fire ovens. Next to that was some tarts with some other pastries, but from this selection I wanted to get some breakfast food because it was that time in the morning, so I ordered a croissant sandwich and took that upstairs to the 3rd floor where there was this amazing terrace view that looked out, where I could have my drink and food. For my coffee flight, it came with 3 different reserve coffees that I asked it to be brewed in a French press, but you can choose multiple methods if you're there at this time. Each coffee came with its own little tasting cup and little tasting notes on these little cards, and each one of those cups was about 3 ounces, which allows you to try the different coffees in parallel. These reserve coffees are typically small batches and are way better than most of the typical pounds of coffee you can find at any Starbucks that you go to. As I mentioned, there's several stories to this Starbucks, and the second story of this building is dedicated exclusively to tea and sponsored by Teavana, which I've never really seen at any other Starbucks that I've been to. Some of the stuff that was going on, I'm not sure exactly what they are, but they brewed both hot and iced teas and different drinks as well, and there's a lot of unique teas that you definitely can't get back in the US. They sell tea here by weight and even let us try a little sample before settling on this pineapple tea that we wanted to get. Moving up to the 3rd floor where the first outdoor terrace is, this has something exclusive to this store that's not really available at other Starbucks, which is a fully fledged alcoholic bar. But it being 9 a.m. when I'm here, I wasn't really feeling a cocktail this early in the morning. But if you come back in the evening, definitely try to get a cocktail and see what they have to offer. On the top floor of the Starbucks Reserve was a lounge, which hosts classes like whiskey and coffee pairings and other things. Also at the top floor, you can see the top of the copper cast that starts from the bottom floor and goes all the way up, and the artwork that's hanging off it is inspired by a sakura tree. Also, while exploring this top floor, because it's pretty empty at this point, I saw several specialty beans that were used for these classes, and this is also where I saw something I've really wanted to try for a long time. That was whiskey barrel-aged beans. So before I left, I picked about 100 grams of this to bring home, and I'll be tasting at the end of this video. The last thing I have before leaving was this chocolate torte, which if you just given to me without telling me it was from Starbucks, I would have no idea because it was really, really tasty and great chocolate flavor. Also, if you're coming here for lunch, they do make wood fire pizzas, but they don't start until after 11, so just keep that in mind. So if you're ever in Tokyo and a fan of Starbucks, definitely check out this Reserve store, and be sure to follow me as I'll continue to show you other things when I travel around. So let's get into the coffee tasting. So I just brewed up this whiskey barrel-aged Guatemala that I got from the Starbucks Reserve when I was there in Tokyo. Kind of brewed it based on their recommended ratio, which is 15 grams of coffee or 10 grams per 180 grams of water. So I did 15 grams of coffee in, ground pretty coarsely with 270 grams or 270 milliliters of filtered water. So this coffee, again, was a rare Guatemalan roast, so they decided to age inside of whiskey barrels from Knob Creek. On the back does have some description. Deepest coffee expertise meets the legacy of the legendary Kentucky distillery. For our latest barrel-aged coffee, we use an extraordinary lot of Guatemala beans, tended carefully throughout the aging process in Knob Creek, Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey barrels. The result is a showstopper, a cup with even greater than the sum of its parts, with mellow sweetness, notes of chocolate, hints of stone fruit, and the aurora of rich oak. In the cup, something almost mythical occurs. A dance unprecedented flavors and mingling of coffee and spirits, a joining tradition. So the bag they give you, I got 100 grams of this stuff. It does have both on the back, Japanese and English on it. So the beans themselves, I just kept in a jar to keep fresh. And you do get like a nice, like almost rich smokiness. And it says supposed to be on their website, like chocolate and fruity notes is like what you're supposed to get out of this. So it's like it comes in kind of clean and then lingers out to more like complex. At this point, I think this is a little bit on the lighter end of what I like to drink. But let's continue to go in. It does have some of that kind of richness, like that nice milk chocolatey, but to dark chocolate kind of stuff. I'm not getting a whole lot of fruit. I bet this would pair pretty nicely with some chocolate. Let me see if I have some. All right, so I found a little bit of whiskey too that I have from the Leopold Brothers, which is one of my favorite whiskeys. They also make really good bourbon too. So like, yeah, you get kind of that normal, like what you characterize with it. So I just want to see how these two would pair together. That pairs really nicely well. It kind of enhances some of the whiskey character, but cuts through a lot of the booze that's in there. And I found some like pretty rich dark chocolate. That really like elevates a lot of the cocoa character of it, and it actually kind of adds a little bit of fruity like notes to it at the end, and it kind of just like lingers and lingers and lingers. But this is really good. I have tried this as espresso, and I really liked it as espresso. I think for me, I think trying a coffee both ways, both as espresso pure shot and a cup, really helps give you like an idea of how that coffee can be used and flavor wise. So something that's rich like this does work really well with espresso. Just drinking it straight, not latte or anything. So yeah, I mean, if you ever get to go to a Starbucks Reserve, definitely check out what kind of beans they have. As I said, when we went there, they had a whole bunch of rare beans. This one was the one that really attracted and caught my eye. I've never really had that before, like in coffee. Spirit aged coffee. Specifically, this one's whiskey. But they did have a lot of amazing teas at the one in Tokyo. They had a whole floor, as I said, completely dedicated to it. We got this like pineapple one that was really good. But they had a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm sure they had some matcha, and as I saw. So definitely highly recommend checking out Starbucks Reserves. They're really cool. I mean, this one specifically, because it is 4 stories. It's one of the biggest ones in the world, I think. So yeah, definitely check it out. And if you like any of the stuff you saw in this video, consider subscribing, because I'll bring you more Japanese content, because I just was in Japan for 2 weeks. So next up will be a new video, and I'll link it up here once it's actually posted after this one. But thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're new. Have a good day. Cheers.